Welcome to Biology, My Passion. I am Soumya Harikrishna. Now we are learning the chapter Evolution, and we have been discussing various evidences of evolution. In the previous modules, we discussed paleontological evidences or the fossil evidences, and also embryological evidences and comparative morphology and anatomy in detail. Today let us discuss the physiological and biochemical evidences of evolution. So if you analyze the physiology of different organisms or the biochemical processes going on in the body of different organisms, if we find similarities, what does that mean? They have a common ancestor or they are related by descent. So here if you look at the biochemical evidences and the physiological evidences, first is metabolic processes. What is meant by metabolic processes? Nothing but our life processes. In all our lives, there are different processes happening like digestion, respiration, excretion, transportation, conduction of nerve impulse, muscular movement. If you study all these processes in different vertebrates, we can find that they are all similar. So that shows a common ancestry. The same way, the enzymes, hormones, blood and lymph, these compositions are same in almost all the vertebrates, and blood and lymph and blood proteins are same in all the mammals. So they are connected closely. The same way, if you see the blood groups of different animals, we can say in human beings we have 4 blood groups, right? Which are they? A, B, AB and O. But if you look at chimpanzees, they also have A and B blood group. But if you go to monkeys, they don't have. So what does that mean? We are closely related to apes than monkeys, or we had a common ancestor. So one more evidence coming here is molecular homology. Similarity at the molecular level is called a molecular homology. For example, if we analyze our DNA with that of a chimpanzee, we can see that there is only 1.8% base pair difference between both of us. That means we had a common ancestor. And one more thing. What do you mean by genetic code is universal? In molecular genetics we learned characteristics or salient features of genetic code, right? We said it is universal. Whether it is a human beings or a chimpanzees or birds or fishes or bacteria, the same code is coding for that amino acid. So all these indicate a common ancestry. Next evidence is biogeographical evidence. What is meant by biogeography? Biogeography means distribution of plants and animals over the earth or the landmass. So we know that initially there was only one single landmass called a Pangaea. Later at the end of Paleozoic era and beginning of Mesozoic era, what happened? The Pangaea split up into different continents. First it divided into two, Laurasia and Gondwana land. Then further they divided and split into different continents. And these continents slowly floated or drifted away, and among or within them geographical isolation started. For example, maybe in the form of oceans, seas or other deserts or any kind of geographical barrier made them more and more separate. But it was not only drifting away, sometimes they would come and fuse together also. So this went on for so many years. When the landmass got separated, obviously you know the animals in that part also would have got separated. So the biogeographical distribution of plants and animals has been divided into 6 biogeographical realms. They are Australian, Neotropical, Ethiopian, Oriental, Palearctic and Nearctic. These are only biogeographical realms. They don't have anything to do with our political boundaries. Under biogeographical evidence, the first argument is discontinuous distribution. What is meant by discontinuous distribution? Certain animals or plants are found in certain continents but are absent in certain other regions, right? That's called a discontinuous distribution, not uniformly distributed all over. There are 2 examples here. One is alligators and the other one is lungfishes. We don't find alligators everywhere. They are mainly found in southeastern America and also eastern China. There is a reason for that. Asia and eastern America were actually connected by Bering Strait before. During late Cenozoic time, ice age happened, and due to glaciation, alligators got wiped off from all the other continents or regions except eastern China and southeast America or the US. So when they got separated by drift, the animals or these alligators are found only in these two regions, but random mutations happen to both these species and they become different from each other. The same way, lungfishes. Lungfishes are not found everywhere. They are seen only in South America, Antarctica and Australia. What does that mean? These two continents were early joined together. But once they got separated or drifted, the different species went to different continents, and we can see 3 different species of lungfishes in these continents. After discontinuous distribution, we are moving on to restricted distribution. What does that mean? Certain flora and fauna are restricted to some continents or geographical areas. They are not found anywhere else. We all know a typical example, right? The marsupials and monotremes are found only in Australia. See, if you see mammals, they are of 3 types. First is monotremes or the egg-laying ones. Example, platypus, echidna, etc. Next is marsupials or the pouched mammals like kangaroos. They are found in Australia. Even the monotremes or the egg-laying ones are also found there. The third category is placental mammals. That is the other major category of mammals. So, why are these two found only in Australian continent, not anywhere else? Once they were in the mainland, actually monotremes and marsupials existed. Placental mammals developed later only. So, during continental drift, when Australia got separated, most of these animals happened to be in that geographical area and they moved to another part of the world. Then the distance was too high that they did not get chance to breed with the animals in the mainland. Though in the mainland they were present in small numbers, but placental mammals evolved on the mainland. These placental mammals outbred marsupials. So they were the predominant ones in the mainland and gradually marsupials got extinct. Whereas in Australia, placental mammals did not form. So there these two dominated, so they did not have any competition. And they developed a different line of evolution. When the placental mammals were evolving in the mainland, the same way marsupials were evolving in the Australian continent. Okay, so this line of evolution is called a divergent evolution or adaptive radiation. Adaptive radiation is a process in evolution where new species diverge from a common ancestor and adapt to their new habitat. Or that's a very simple way of understanding it. Otherwise, we can say, as per your textbook, the evolution of different species in a given geographical area starting from a point and literally radiating to other areas of geography or habitat. That is called adaptive radiation. In your textbook, this diagram is given. The example is marsupials again, Australian marsupials. They had a common ancestor in the beginning when Australia continent got drifted. Later, from that common ancestor, many other marsupials diverged or they formed from a single common ancestor and they adapted. But they evolved in different lines of evolution. Some of them were fossorial, means burrowing habitat. Some were arboreal, living on trees. Some semi-aquatic, some aquatic and some terrestrial. So different types originated and they adapted to live but within a same geographical area. Another typical example here is Darwin's finches. Darwin made his voyage to Galapagos Island. He observed a very typical kind of birds there. That bird amazed him actually. It was a small black bird. There were many types of those birds. Though they all looked the same, their beaks were different. So he observed and concluded that these birds must have originated in that main island itself. But later, due to competition, they started radiating or diverging to different islands around that same main island. But once they migrated from their original geographical area, but within the island, Galapagos groups of islands only, but when they migrated, their food habit changed. Maybe from initial seed eating habit, some of them became frugivorous, fruit eating, or some became insectivorous, means insect eating. So over a period of time, their beak also got adapted to the type of feeding habit they possessed. So these two are examples of adaptive radiation, that is starting from a common point, diverging out new species but within a same geographical area. Now, opposite of divergent evolution is convergent evolution. Convergent evolution means what? Totally unrelated animals happen to perform a common function. For example, here wings of birds, bats and insects. We know their structures are different. In birds, wings are made up of feathers. In bats, it is stretch of skin over the bones. Whereas in insects, it's a membranous structure. But they all converge to do a common function. What is that? Flight. So from different unrelated animals, it's coming to a single point. That is why it is called a convergent evolution. Another point to understand here is parallel evolution. Parallel evolution is the independent development of similar characters in different groups of animals of common ancestry sharing similar habitats of different continents. What do you mean by that? If you take the case of marsupials and placental mammals, we know they had a common ancestor. In Australian continent, marsupials from a common ancestor, they diverged into many other species. The same way in the mainland, marsupials got extinct, but from their common ancestor, placental mammals evolved. So there are two different groups of animals with a common ancestor. They independently developed similarity. They went line of evolution, but it was in the similar way. And because they share a common habitat, but in different geographical area, like in different continents. One was in Australia, one was in mainland, but their similarity in habit, they lived in the same type of habitat. Okay, so in your textbook there is a picture given. This depicts the parallel evolution of marsupials and placental mammals. You can see this, there is a striking correlation between their mode of evolution. Wolf evolved in mainland, at the same time Tasmanian wolf in Australia. Like flying phalanges, flying squirrel, all these striking correlation was there because their line of development was same though they were in different continents. So this is known as parallel evolution. Hope you understand my teaching. If you like my videos, please like, share and subscribe to my channel, Biology My Passion.